Hi everyone, it's Mark here again. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. And this is the fun bit for me. This is where I get to catch up with one of our full members and hear the news, what's new and what's coming up. So Caroline has kindly joined me today. Somewhere else on this profile page will be the interview that we conducted earlier this year, might even be longer. So this is my chance to sort of post a little update. So Caroline, thank you so much for joining me again today.
Thank you. It's great to have a conversation with you again. It's lovely to catch up.
We've already started nattering before we hit record. So I know you've had somewhat of a sort of upheaving year with various things going on. But what I'd love to do is for you to remind everybody the work you do.
Mhm.
And I've come up with this phrase called super passions. What's your superpower and where do your passions lie? And that's always a nice place to start. But more excitingly, I know you've got some ideas and plans and aspirations for next year, which will be 25. I'm meeting lots of people who are telling me next year is going to be the year. You know,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, that's great.
my wife is one of them. So yeah, it's all very exciting. So do the quick intro,
Yeah.
and then let's talk about plans for 25.
Okay. I've been working in arts and culture for 30 something years, probably, and loved every minute of it, to be fair. I've worked primarily in arts marketing, and that's a big chunk of what I still do. I work with arts organisations to kind of unpick a muddle that they might be in, or plan the future with them. Um, Maybe review how their marketing activities working for them. Um, and sometimes I get to work with brand new arts organisations as well, who would like to kind of do that big thinking piece of what they could actually achieve and how they present themselves to the public. Um, I've also worked a lot with cultural organisations ranging from cathedrals to historic properties and festivals as well. And everything has a golden thread through it, which is that everything that these organisations do really enriches people's lives. And I love being part of that. That's really important to me to do good stuff for good people. Um, so yeah, that's where I've kind of carved out my career. My business is called Experience Marketing, in part because I'm working with organizations which create great experiences for people, but kind of also because I've tucked a fair bit of experience under my belt over the years, and I love to share that. Yeah, so that's me and uh, theatres, art galleries, museums, heritage properties. They're all in there, and very happy to continue in that vein.
It's called GLAM, isn't it? The acronym.
Is
Uh,
it? I have not heard this, but I
yeah.
like it already.
Galleries, libraries, archives, and museums.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I've seen it written in full and not
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Very
I was I'd love your feedback on this because I listened to the recent budget in the UK quite carefully. I don't think I heard us mentioned ever in it.
disappointingly.
I know when you think that the arts and culture sector in the UK makes more money for the Treasury than sport does.
Mm.
You'd have thought we'd have got a bit of a mention. I'm
Yeah.
quite disappointed because we were talked about in the run up to the election.
Oh, yes.
Of course, we
Very
were.
engagingly, yes.
Yes. But there didn't seem anything there, you know, that got us excited. And it's frustrating because we're an extremely innovative and pioneering community in the
Indeed, yeah.
UK. You know, there used to be that saying, wasn't there? The British will invent it, the Americans will sell it, and the Chinese will copy it. And there is some truth in that. You know, sequencing DNA, inventing radio in Chelmsford near me,
Yeah. Yeah.
giving the internet to the world. You know,
It's
it's
a fair
the
bit, isn't
it
it?
is Shakespeare, Beatles. You know, we seem to undervalue that as a superpower in
Yeah.
in the
The
UK.
impact the arts has on people's lives is immeasurable, really, whether it's tackling mental health issues or giving people absolutely fantastic reasons to celebrate, or being creative and just finding something that unlocks different parts of the mind. It's all wonderful stuff. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's sadly overlooked, and yet it could fix so many ills, I think.
yeah. I wanted, counterintuitively, I wanted to pioneer a no music day. Um, but a day on which you're not allowed to hear any music. So it would be a pretty dull day. Probably wanted to be the Wednesday between Christmas and New Year or something like that.
Well,
There'd be no radio, there'd be no television, there'd be no advertising, there would be no
no jingles.
shopping, no jingles. There would be it would be a proper wake up call for everyone,
Wouldn't it just? Yeah.
because it's just like oxygen for us, and we don't really and you don't really appreciate how important things like music and being creative are until you're
Taken away.
deprived of them. Yeah.
Mm.
So so tell me a little bit about the kind of organizations that you'd like to work with in 25, and the kind of work you want to do.
I'd like to stick with where I'm at, really, although sometimes the joy comes in in working on unusual projects that you don't see coming around the corner. Um, no, I love the working in the arts, because people who give themselves to the arts, and it really is that gift of time and knowledge, um, are absolutely passionate about what they do. And I think that creates a working environment which is very, very special. Having worked in commercial organizations as well, just a few, it's a much more harsh way of thinking, and very much focused on the bottom line, which obviously arts organizations need to be, but they do it in a different way. They do it creatively and with care and with love, and that creates the best working environment. Um, so I think most of the organizations that I can have an impact with are fairly small, but have capacity to grow. And that capacity might not be financially yet, but it's about ambition. And I think where I help mostly is by finding ways to unlock that ambition and make it something a little bit more real and tangible. And that might be through, primarily is through marketing, because through marketing you can realize what stuff looks like. You can plan campaigns, and you can find gaps in the market. You can find examples of other people doing things brilliantly, which in turn inspires you and allows you to think more practically. So yeah, I think very often the organisations I work with have either gained some maybe Arts Council funding and need to um, ensure that they deliver against those expectations that they've and obligations that they've set out, or they are organisations who are working up to that big funding bid, and again need to unlock a little bit of creativity, but also some business sense as well around how that's practically going to work and what it can deliver for their communities and their stakeholders. So whether that's galleries, museums, festivals, theatres, any of those just make my heart sing. So when I am approached by an arts organisation who says, "Can you help us?" I'll make sure I can, because that's where I want to be, Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and I work all over the UK. Very happy to travel. I'm still waiting for my dream client on the Outer Hebrides to give me a call. There must be one up there, surely, that will give me a reason to go up there again. I've been for holidays and I love that place. So yeah, the and sometimes the more unusual, the better, I think let's see what's out there. So I'm really excited about 2025, because yeah, I took a bit of had to take a bit of a break for family reasons over a couple of months of this year. And it does allow you time to reflect and think, what do I really enjoy doing, and what how can I help, really? And I
yeah.
think I'm old enough to know that a lot of joy comes from giving to others, not from doing for yourself. So
Mm,
yeah, that's the kind of ethos that I use for my work.
that's brilliant. There's that lovely John Ruskin quote, I think: "When love and skill come together, expect some magic."
Yeah, and I
Um,
absolutely agree with that.
yeah, it's great. Well, this is exciting for 25. We were exploring where our community might be at the end of
Yeah.
next year. I shamelessly used ChatGPT to predict the future of our community, and it's so clever because I was able to export reports from our website back end and put them into ChatGPT and say, where will we be in 2030? And
Wow.
apparently we'll have 1,726 full members on the 31st of December 2030, which is more revenue than I need. So that'll be at the moment where we can start giving more of it away. That's the long-term aim.
Yeah.
We want to be like the Arts Council, but with no application forms.
Lovely.
If we like the idea, here's the money, go make your art. That's the plan. So, and by then it will be possible. So that's probably when I'll want to put my feet up and let someone else.
Yeah, and that's a nice plan.
Yeah, it's my end of, it's a bit like JFK's space race. By the end of the decade, I'm going to do that. Yeah, so it's changing, but I'm excited about next year, and several people I've spoken to are.
Yeah, I think if you can go into a new year excited rather than tired from the old one, then
Yes.
you're winning.
Yes, you're winning. Caroline, thank you so much for recording with me this little update. We'll pop this everywhere we can, and wherever this appears, there'll be links to you and your website and the work that you're doing. So, and thanks again for being one of our full members. You make all of this possible.
Oh,
You
it's
don't know
a joy
this.
to be a part.
You don't know this, but you've helped feed homeless orphans in Uganda in a street dance group. You've helped one of our members moved from South Africa to Canada and realized she had a rare form of breast cancer and no medical insurance. So, and a 5-year-old son. So we were able to help her as well. And so all of those little £10 a month that come in get used.
Who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Well, quite. Caroline, thank you so much. Don't catch off, but for the meantime, thank you for joining me today and for recording this little update.
Thank you.